Where does the race for the GOP nomination stand at this point with the January 3rd Iowa caucuses, the first real votes that count, just a few short weeks away? Well, let's look at the race candidate by candidate. The man who is getting most attention this week is none other than Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House. Gingrich's recognition is at 88%, but most importantly, his positive intensity score, as we measured here at Gallup, is now up to 20. That's the highest of any Republican candidate that we are tracking and marks a dramatic renaissance for Gingrich, who last summer was down into single digits, in fact, low single digits, and now he's climbed back up to where he has the highest intensity score of anybody that we track. And when we asked Republicans whom they would vote for right now for their party's nomination, Gingrich is essentially tied with frontrunner Mitt Romney. What about Romney? Well, his positive intensity score doesn't move much. It's at 11 this week. In other words, Republicans like Romney, but as we've told you before, they're not intense about him. They don't come up with the same kind of intensity of support that we've seen for people like Rick Perry and Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain and now Newt Gingrich. Mitt Romney just kind of sits there and Republicans say, yeah, I have a favorable opinion, but when our interviewers ask, is that a strongly favorable opinion, they're less likely to say yes. Then there's Herman Cain. The remarkable thing, or at least one remarkable thing about Herman Cain is his name recognition among Republicans. Look at that data in front of you. 88% of Republicans now know who Cain is, and when he started out just last spring, his name ID among Republicans is just above 20%. He is now as well known as Romney or Gingrich, politicians who've been around for many, many years. So if nothing else, Herman Cain is gained dramatically in terms of his name ID nationally among Republicans. The bad news for Cain is that his positive intensity continues to fall. It's now at 14. At one point, it was at 34 just a few weeks ago. So all of the swirling allegations about Cain's perhaps sexual harassment here in Washington when he was head of the National Restaurant Association have cost him, and his esteem in the eyes of Republicans is down. He's also down a few points below the frontrunners in Gallup's trial heat. And then there's Rick Perry. His name ID is up there, but in our trial heat polling, well, he's down there with Ron Paul, well below the leaders, Gingrich and Romney, and Perry's positive intensity score is right around 0, just a couple of points above 0, so certainly at the moment he has fallen like Herman Cain in the esteem of his fellow Republicans. Jon Huntsman, former governor of Utah, was on Saturday Night Live this past week. He made fun of the fact that he's only in single digits in the polls. Well, that's true. He gets 1% of the vote of Republicans nationally. When we ask who you would vote for, his positive intensity score is still in negative territory, and fascinatingly, Huntsman's name ID among Republicans, after all the campaigning and debating that's gone on, is still at 48%, the lowest of any Republican candidate that we're tracking. That's an update for you on the GOP race. I'm Frank Newport, Gallup's Editor-in-Chief.